So what's up, everyone? It is your girl GELBEAUTY87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna get into ranking all my melt palettes. So I have about 15 melt palettes in my collection, and we're gonna go through all of them today. So without further ado, girl, let's get into it because we know I'm long with it. So number 15 is the 420 palette. So this one ranked so low because the pigmentation on the shades I was most excited about was very disrespectful and sad. So this one right here and this one right here, because y'all know those are the ones that my eyes went to. I feel like that's what a lot of people's eyes went to in this palette, because we used to them having like lots of grungy, deeper tone shades and some neutrals. But the fun pops of color were exciting me, and they were very disappointing. Not to mention the shimmer shade in here was terrible. I took it out and put this green one in here from the what is it called, the Gemini, just so I'd have a better shimmer to work with this, hoping that would make me like it better. But it does not. This is my least favorite one, and I'm just kind of like if I didn't have it in my collection, I'd be fine. Number 14 is the Radioactive palette. Now, even though I recreated mine to look better, because y'all know I recreate my melt palettes, I still just, I don't know what it is. I think I'm just not excited about this one. I got this greens to go with the pink and the the orange and the yellow. I feel like those colors would be nice with that. And then I got this purple shimmer to go with these. But I don't know. It's just, I have so many rainbow palettes that this one was just totally disappointing. And I was just like, So that one was sad. Number 13 is the Electric palette. Now, this one just came out this year, but like, since they repeat color stories so much, it's just like, it just was underwhelming. And then it seems like they've changed the formula, because you have to build up the pigmentation on your shadows now, and then you didn't used to have to do that. Like, you would put it on, bam, pigment. But it's like with these new ones, you have to build it up. So that's another reason I was kind of disappointed. Aside from the fact it just looks like it's another form of, what's that palette called? A Vita with a duochrome, and the formula in Vita is better than this one, so that's why it's so lower down. The only thing that's special in here is the Galactica Love, and it's like, how many duochromes or multi-chromes or whatever do we already have now in palettes with better formulas? So it's just like, man. So the rest of the palettes from now on, I like. It was just a question of where to rank them. Those are the least, those are the three that, like, if they went missing from my collection, I wouldn't look for them. I would not miss them. I would not care. So where is it? What's the palette? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, no, there's one more like that. This is the Air palette from the holiday collection. Again, they've done so many colors like this in the past till it's like whatever. To me, this just seems like another mini version, like half of whether She's in Parties, and then half of the Baby Girl stack called is that the name of the stack? Baby Girl stack? But yeah, so I mean, this one just wasn't special to me at all. As you can see, my shade broke, and I didn't try to press it back in because I just didn't care. So those are the four I don't care about. The rest of them, I like all of them. It was just a question of where I had to put them based upon how often I think I'd reach for them, quality and stuff like that. So that was number, what, 13? So this is gonna be number 12. So this is the Mariposas palette, Amores Posas. So I redid this one just because I felt like, as I told y'all, it was a roll of ash, and I don't need a roll of ash. I need some colors that actually work for my skin tone. So I pressed some shades in last night, and actually literally just did this one last night with Adriangameover. He was my helper. So this is what mine looks like now. I just took a whole bunch of individual single shadows, the giant single shadows that I had in those huge pans, and just pressed these pans into them so I could fit them in palettes, because I want to redo them with my ColourPop ones. I redid a couple of Natasha Denonas last night as well, but I did my Melt and ColourPop ones and 2 Natasha Denonas. And this is what she looks like now. I love the color story just a lot better. I like these multi-chromes and dual-chromes. I feel like they'll go nice with the greens. I wish I had some blue mattes, but I'm going to work with what I got in here for now, unless I find some better mattes. And this one shifts, I think, like blue, green, and purple. It was this one or this one that does that, and I really like that for this, because there's like green and purple in here, and I feel like it would go nice with this to give me some blue to the palette. So I like that palette just fine. It was just a question of that raw ash that wasn't giving, and I was not living at all. So next I have the Gemini palette. This is the original, this is the new packaging, but this was like one of the first palettes they came out with. They came out with Gemini, and they came out with 27. I wasn't a fan of 27 because it was warm tone. Gemini was more of like my color story, even though I'm not really a fan of there being more neutrals than there are green tones. At least I feel like there are, but I like this one better because it's like the formula of this is better than in the Mariposas, in my personal opinion. Not that the formula is bad, it's just this one seems a little bit better to me, and you know, that's why I got ranked here. Not necessarily because of the color story, but because of the formula. Next, I have my Millennial Pinks. Believe it or not, I know, right? But if y'all remember, I recreate melt palettes like I talked about. So this one has been remade as well, and this is what mine looks like. So basically what ended up happening, if you all remember, I told you my original Gemini, which is why I have that new one, the backing came off. So like this part came off and the magnet just was sticking to the mirror at the top, and it's just sees the cardboard. So I got another one when the bundle came out with the Gemini 2 that you'll see a little bit later, and I took all the greens from my original Gemini and stuck them in here. So that, along with one shade from the 420 palette, and that's why mine looks like this as opposed to the way it's supposed to look. And I like the way this looks a whole lot better. You all saw my blueprint palette, I believe it was yesterday, and I took all the fun shades out of here as far as like the deep grays and like silvers and put it in my blueprint palette because I feel like it looked more plumpy, and you'll see that a little bit later as well. But I like the way this turned out. I feel like it's giving wannabe vibes of Angie's palette without the cool smoky tones at the end. It would be like this palette combined with the She's and Parties palette would be like an alternative to Angie's palette, but I custom made this palette, so there's that. But I really like the custom way I made it, and I like the colors that came out with. I gave y'all a battle of love with this as well. You have not, sorry, not battle of the old school versus new school, but that as well. You just have not seen it yet. Okay, on to the next set of palettes. So this should be number 10, I believe. So yeah, this is the new Morte. Now don't get it confused with the original one, because I heard they changed the formula on this. This is what she looks like on the inside. I wouldn't be surprised because, like I said, the electric, it wasn't as pigmented, and neither is the holiday collection they came out with in 2022, the little 4-pan palettes. So I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they changed the form of this and made it less pigmented, which I don't understand, because it's like y'all known for your pigmentation as well as your color story. So why would you lessen the pigment to it unless it costs more to make it more pigmented? So that's why I'm putting my new one at the bottom, because I've been hearing too many people saying the formula of this changed and it's not as pigmented. So I don't appreciate it, and I'm glad I do have the original one, because it's like if I had to deal with that versus the original one and then I had found out it was different, I would be very, very upset. Okay, next I have the excuse me, this is the Fire palette. So this is the second one in here. Y'all know at the end of the day, I don't like these types of tones. These aren't my types of tones. I don't really care for them. So that is why this is placed where it's placed. It has nothing to do with the formula per se. It's just, this is in my color store, and you do have to build up the formula on these, which is another reason it's lower. Next, I have the Mary Jane palette. Now, I recreated this one as well. I forgot where I took some shimmers out. I think I might have just taken the black from the Gemini palette and stuck it in here. Don't quote me though, but I know I added something to this, and I feel like it was this shade right here. I don't think I changed any of the shimmers out from what I remember, but I like it better with the black in here because I feel like it adds an extra smoky effect. So it's like you have this lighter brown for transition, you have this brown for transition, and then you have these two deeper black and brown shades for your outer V's. So to me, I just made this ultimate smoky eye palette, and I like it a whole lot better than that. I will say the shimmers in here are not all that, but if you need a good smoky eye to go to, I feel like this would be excellent for it. So that's why it got put where it got put. Next, we have Vita. So if you all remember, I bought this on sale at Sephora on the clearance rack after they got melt in Sephora, because I was not looking or checking for this palette at all, but I was like, let me just go ahead and get it because I melt stand anyway, and they have like this palette on sale, and I can put the skulls together now instead of just having one side of the skull. So I went ahead and got it. The quality of this is good since it's the original like quality. I don't think they came back with Vita. They just came back with Morte because everybody asked about it. So I got the original Vita. I really liked the formula on this, and it does pair pretty nicely with the other palette. So there's that. Don't have too much to say about it though, because I don't really use it all. Next, I have the brunette palette. Now, if you all remember, I redid mine because it had a lot of light ashy tones in the very front, and that wasn't working on Sister Girl skin tone. So she fixed it to where it would work for her as usual. So this is what it looks like now. I still have that lighter shade. I think cork was, I think that's originally is cork. I took the yellow shade from what is it called? I want to say I took the shade from my original Gemini palette. And I think I just moved some of these around. Like I think this buff shade was actually this shade, but I felt like this shade looked better next to it, and I moved that. I forgot what I did with the other lighter shades that were in here. I think I just put them in an empty palette. I don't think I took any of the shimmers from the Blueprint palette and put them in here. So this, I'm pretty sure, is just the rest of the palette, and I just added, I think, this shade and maybe one other shade. But I like the color for this a whole lot better, and to me this is definitely more of a brunette palette that's brown girl friendly. So it's actually pretty decent, probably for one of their newer palettes too. Ooh, and the palettes just fell off. Child, that's probably because Mary Jane has a weird shape to it. It has that weird embossing on top of it, and that's why it was hard for it to sit on top. I don't know. But anyway, next I have the Earth palette from Melt. I don't know why I'm saying from Melt, like all of them are from Melt. I really like the color story of this. It's just, again, the pigmentation of these new ones don't seem to give as much. You have to work a lot harder for the pigmentation like you do with other shadows, whereas they used to just be pigmented off the bat. So I am a little disappointed with that. But I did like the color story of this one enough to put it where I put it, just because y'all know this would be more of my color story out of all the new ones that they came out with, and I didn't want to just stick all the new ones at the bottom, although I feel like, you know, they're not as good as the OGs, but you know, we put them where we did. Next I have the water palette. Of course y'all know my Zodiac palette was going to be the one that was at the top. Team Scorpio over here, how you doing? But y'all know I just love blues too, so I really like the color story of this because of the blues. I like this like ashy-ish cool tone shade, and I like this kind of neutralish deepish wannabe brown shade, and then all the blues they chose are really nice. The only thing I don't like, of course, is this sequin shadow right here. If they had made this just a nice if they had just made this a shimmer with these sequins in it, I'd have been fine with it. But the fact that it's like a matte with these sequins in it is what's making me mad. But otherwise I like the palette just fine. That's just my only issue with it, and again, the pigmentation lacking compared to other palettes that they had made in the past. Okay, now y'all, we at the top of the list. So we're gonna start with the Gemini 2 palette. I know some people are probably shocked that this is so high up because of the color story, but as y'all know, like I said throughout this video, I changed my Melt palettes to what I want them to be. So I have changed this one to what I want it to be, and that's why it's as high as it is now. So this is what it looks like. I felt like there weren't enough lighter tone shimmers in here because they have a tendency to give you lots of dark shimmers along with dark grungy mattes, and I was like, I want lighter shimmers to go with the deeper matte so we can have a nice gradient, and I felt like it didn't give that. So I just took these single shadows and pressed them into these Melt containers, and I love the way this color story looks now. Like, it just makes me want to gravitate to it and use it a lot. So I like this lighter green to go with this deeper green here. I like this pink shifting shade here and this nice red to go with these tones. So I think I did a pretty decent job. I want to still have a darker shimmer in here, which is why I left this one, because otherwise I'd have put another shimmer in here that goes better with these. But as it is, I just left it the way it was, and I think it turned out pretty nice. Now, I have not made an eye look with this since I have made it, because y'all know I'm always getting new palettes in. But since, if you want to look with it, let me know, and I can do it, or you'll just see it pop up on Instagram one day when I'm feeling like pulling it out and playing with some Melt stuff. But I'm gonna try to put it on my dresser in my living room and make sure that I my table in my living room, and make sure I do an eye look with it, because I'm getting ready for work. Believe it or not, I do my eyeshadow looks in my living room. So next we have She's in Parties. I recreated this one as well. I only put one shade in here different though, because I felt like there weren't enough lighter shimmers in here. Like I've been saying, Melt likes to do a lot of deep shimmers, a lot of deep mattes, and I wanted a brighter shimmer to go with some of the other shades in here. So I added this shade right here, and I just think it looks stunning. I mean, it's giving to me it's giving more of Rose Quartz Vibes from Huda Beauty now, with this brighter dual chromy shimmer in here, because it just looks stunning with the rest of the shades in here. This I feel like can always be a good inner corner shade. I feel like this adds something for the lid when you want to do a lighter look, and then I feel like you can use these as a grungier look, or you can use this with the lighter tones and make a nice little moment and put this in your inner corner. So I feel like this was a good color for all the colors and the color story of this palette, and I'm loving the way it looks. I have not done a look with this one either, or have I? I feel like I might have done a look with this one. I don't remember, but if I haven't, I need to add this to my list of things to do a look with, because I'm like, yes. Now, I just did a look with this one. We just talked about it. This is the Melt Cosmetics Blueprint palette. I redid it, and here's where all the fun shade, or where all the deeper shades from the, what is that palette? The Millennial Pinks I showed you earlier are. So I took this shade, and this silver shade from here. If I had another shade to change this one out with, I would have, but since I didn't, I just left it the way it was. But I feel like a champagne with this is fine, because you can do the champagne in the inner corner, just do a nice little gray smoky eye, or you can do a nice little blue moment here with all these shades. So that was my goal in making this palette, and I think it turned out nice, and I think it looks nice. And y'all saw the nice eye look I came up with yesterday, so hopefully you liked it. Next, I have Smoke Sessions. This was like the very first melt palette I bought, and I was obsessed and in love with the color story, and I still am to this day. Like, I love the color story that they came up with. This nice deep grungy tones that gave you that one deep matte and then all these lighter shimmers. I miss when they used to give you lighter shimmers like this, because it seems like now they just want to give you a whole bunch of deep shimmers. I mean, you have this deep shimmer here, but you have these two lighter ones, and again, you have this deep shimmer, but you have these two lighter ones. So I don't know what made them change their mind and start doing nothing but deep shimmers, but I wish they'd go back to the way they did this one, where it's like some lighter ones and some deeper ones, not just all deep mattes and then all deep shimmers and then some light bone color shades that I can't do anything with. So I'm needing to fix that. And where is our Shapeshifter palette? I feel like for holiday they should make Shapeshifter over and just give us like some cool deep grungy like jewel toned mattes, and then like do those shifting shades to put on top of the mattes. I feel like that'd be so cool. Like, I'm just waiting for them to do it. I'm just waiting. So number 3 is the original Morte. This is the one I bought when it first came out. It was much more pigmented than the one that they're saying is new now. So this is what she looks like on the inside. I mean, they've re-released it twice because people loved it so much. So needless to say, I don't have to, you know, like talk about it too much, because you know about her, you've seen her. I've done like at least 3 videos with this palette just because, you know, she's so stunning, and I'm so happy I get to pull it out again and use it because it's lovely. So I got like 3 palettes from Melt that I need to put in rotation this week, but that's okay. I have no problem doing so while I wait on my new palettes to arrive. So number 2 is the Waiting Room from Melt Cosmetics. The Beetlejuice collection was giving I Was Living. I will say though, I feel like, and everybody says it's like, some of the shades look too similar. Like the 2 reds look too similar, and then the 2 grays look too similar. But otherwise, it's nice. But I understand like them trying to have one for transition, one for like possibly outer V, and the one to like airbrush over the other stuff. So I get the purpose of it. It's just, you know, like, I felt like since they didn't give us that many shades, they could have gave us a better variety of shades. And I think that's why, but how everybody feels about it when talking about this palette. So of course, number 1 is the Recently Deceased, because that's like gonna be my favorite color story, the green and the purple. We all know I was gonna pick the green and the purple over that one at the end of the day, because I like a smoky eye, but I love me a colorful moment at the end of the day. The colorful moment is what's most important to me. And this is what she looks like. Again, some of the shades are too close in tone. Like, I feel like when you put this one on the lid and this one on the lid, they look somewhat the same, and then the purples are a little too similar because this one's just a little bit lighter than this one, so it's not giving enough along with the shimmer. So I love the color story, and I love the formula, and I love all that. It's just, again, because we didn't have that many colors to choose from, it's like you could have gave us a better variety of purples and greens with what they chose. But nonetheless, they still made it to the top, so clearly it wasn't that big a deal to me. So that's my ranking for all of my Melt palettes. You can comment down below and tell me if you agree or disagree, or if you feel like the formula has changed since the Mari Postas palette like I was talking about. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all what's on my eyes at the beginning, child. This is the Glamorous palette from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. I decided to play with it, and I was inspired by it while I was waiting for the new one to launch, because I have alarm set on my phone and ready to order it, but I'm like, you know, I gotta wait till they actually post it online. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Remember, you all are diamonds, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.